We're doing great. We have the best polling numbers we've ever had. We have the best numbers in the country.
Everything in red. Our Fox polling disapproves at 59%, Washington Post, ABC News 57%, Wall Street Journal at 54%. It seems like you're pushing a car uphill, and you've got 9 months to turn it around. You know Democrats are juiced. They are ready to vote tomorrow. Do you have enough runway to get this economy where it needs to be before November?
That's gonna hurt!
There's only so many times you can fake polls, especially when your very own Fox is showing you underwater.
Then I had to go through, and I still do, fake stories, fake polls. And I had polls for the election that showed I was going to get swamped, and I won in a landslide. They were fake polls because polls are tough. You know, when you get a fake poll, I get them today. I saw one today that I'm at 40%. 40%. I'm not at 40%. I'm at much higher than that. I mean, I'd love to run against anybody. The real polls say you kill everybody. It wouldn't even be close. But you go through the fake polls, you go through the fake stories. And I said, you know, it was good because this is really a much more powerful term than I would have had if I had run, because it was just one of those things. There would be nothing to compare it to.
The Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and Fox all have Trump underwater in red around the economy. In fact, it was Fox that had either the most underwater. Perhaps my favorite part was the fact that J.D. Vance was that one who had to hear that information. Of course, he tried to explain it or somehow excuse it, and the talking point was Biden.
Well, Bill, in some ways, we are pushing a car uphill because the Biden administration left us such a disaster of an economy, the highest peacetime debt in American history, skyrocketing inflation. A lot of Americans who had lost $3,000 was how much the average American had lost in take-home pay. Now, in a year, we've actually seen the average American gain about $1,200 in take-home pay. But if you're sitting at home from the perspective of the Biden administration, you are still worse off than you were when Joe Biden took over. So we are absolutely pushing that car uphill. But here's the good news, Bill. I think we're about to get over the hump. I think that tax season is around the corner. A lot of Americans, because of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, they're about to get a massive tax income refund. We've seen this massive trillions and trillions of dollars coming into our country to build new factories. Those construction jobs are starting to hit the economy. Then the manufacturing jobs, once those factories are built, will hit the economy too. So I think that we've got a lot of momentum here. But the president said this last night. We inherited a mess. Our ask to the American people is let us continue to fix this mess, make your life better. That's what the president is prioritizing, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
There was a poll released yesterday of Wisconsin voters where 70% of respondents said their biggest concerns right now are affordability and the cost of living.
Sure.
What can still be done at the federal level to ease some of those affordability concerns that Wisconsinites still have?
Well, look, it's our top concern, too. We want people to be able to afford a good life. Nothing breaks my heart more than the idea that you've got somebody who goes out, they bust their rear end, they come home, they want to give their kids a nice meal, maybe once or twice a year, they want to take their kids on a nice vacation. We want people to be able to afford that so long as they work hard and play by the rules. And I think the thing that we've tried to remind ourselves of in the Trump administration is we were put in a very big hole. When you talk about the average American family under Biden's leadership that lost $3,000 of take-home.
I wonder how long they plan on blaming Biden. The fact is, every Republican history in decades now has done more to hurt the economy than help the economy. Republicans come in like Reagan with his trickle-down economics and hurt the economy. And then we had Bill Clinton, the only one who has actually balanced a budget in decades. Happened again with Bush. 2008 market crisis. Obama came in and cleaned it up. Trump, COVID, Biden set us on his path, passing the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act bill. And now, of course, we have Trump tanking it all with the whims of his tariffs and his taxes on the wealthy. Well, it was interesting in there because in addition to blaming Biden, J.D. Vance also actually tries to take credit for Biden, but talking about manufacturing jobs. Well, those manufacturing jobs aren't starting here because of Trump's tariffs, where we see actually businesses failing as a result? No, it is because of that CHIPS Act. It is because of the Infrastructure Act. The CHIPS Act allowed an infusion of government money in order to build manufacturing plants for the technology of the future. So JD Vance is both blaming Biden and taking credit for Biden, which is not surprising. Trump can't do anything but destroy things. He knows how to destroy the East Wing. He still cannot try to rebuild it. He's already destroying our economy. He does not know how to rebuild it.
You said you inherited a mess from President Biden when it comes to the economy. But at what point is it on you? At what point are we in the Trump economy?
Oh, I'd say we're there now. I'm very proud of it, 5.6%. You know, we have a GDP of 5.6 despite a shutdown. We had a 42-day shutdown. I call it the Democrat shutdown. And because of that, I lost 1.5 points. I would have been at a 7 GDP, which hasn't been seen, I don't know, ever, maybe ever.
Yeah.
And I think 26 is even going to be better. You know, we have hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our country. Actually, trillions. $18 trillion is being invested in our country as we speak. And there are factories and plants and thousands of businesses being built all over the country. Nobody has ever seen it. I just spoke to President Xi of China. Nobody has ever seen anything like what's happening right now in America.
When will we see those jobs and those factories open? Because manufacturing has been down.
Well, you're already seeing it in construction because they're all building. You know, we have factories being built, car plants are coming in from Canada, coming in from Mexico. They're leaving Germany, Japan. They're all coming into the United States. And you're seeing it in your construction numbers. And, you know, the plant, we have to build them. And the plants are under construction.
In your term, you think those plants will open in your term?
They'll be opening up over the next year and a half. Yeah.
Recent polling also shows Trump underwater big time around independents. Independents are those magic voters that each party wants to get. They hope that that will put them over the top and win an election. Well, independent voters are so drastically disliking Trump right now, it is a big, huge red flag, because not only does that hurt Trump and perhaps his mantle to be able to convince the GOP to do whatever he wants, but it also hurts all the down ballot races. Because if you're an independent voter and you're not liking what the leader of the party is doing, you are going to be less likely to vote for that party or vote at all. You know, if you're an independent-minded person who doesn't like government overreach, you're certainly not going to like the fact that Trump said he could destroy the country himself, that when the Supreme Court speaks and says that the tariffs are illegal, he says that maybe he's not going to refund the tariffs, that he goes and puts ice on the streets and kills American citizens. Those independent people often are also the type of people who do not like government overreach. That's why they are proudly independent, because they don't see themselves as political. They see themselves as making a choice based on the policies of the person. And Trump and the GOP are so obviously not with any policy, but about power and abuse of power. No wonder they're really turning off the independent swing voter.
Some bad news in the polling for President Trump. His approval rating hitting new lows. CNN's Harry Enton is running the numbers on this one for us. Hello, Harry.
Hello, Kate.
Where does the president stand?
Happy Washington's birthday observed today. That's what it is in the state of New York. I'm a New Yorker through and through. Let's take a look at another president, though. President Donald John Trump. Look at this. I got 4 numbers across for you on this screen here. They are all second-term lows for the given pollster. What are we talking about? AP Nork, 26 points below water. NBC, 22 points below water. Yahoo YouGov, 20 points below water. Quinnipiac, 19 points below water. So we're ranging from negative 19 points all the way to negative 26 points. You know, Kate, there's this question that folks keep asking, you know, where is the floor for Donald Trump? And I'm not sure there is a floor, because if there is one, Donald Trump, at least in term number 2, has just fallen through it to another low level.
How does this compare with his first term, and how does this compare with Joe Biden?
Okay, so we look at these numbers right here. One of the things that Donald Trump had been arguing, his proponents have been arguing, oh, you know what, he's doing better than he was doing in term number 1. No longer is that the case. What are we talking about here? Okay, net approval rating at this point in the term. Look at this, 22 points below water on average when you average all the pollsters from the last slide. That is actually lower. That is lower than he was at this point in term number 1, when he was 17 points below water. So he's doing 5 points worse, 5 points worse, and he's doing way worse than Joe Biden was doing at this point in his term number 1 when he was 13 points below water. So the bottom line is this: Donald Trump is setting new records for himself in term number 2, setting new records for himself compared to where he was at this point in term number 1, and he's doing worse than Joe Biden, which is, of course, the comparison